Greetings and welcome to the Astronomy Picture of the Day podcast. Today's picture for March 22nd of 2025 is titled SuperCam target on Mars. So what do we see here? Well, here we see an image of a rock on Mars, and that rock is known as Mars 30. Now, why does it have that name? Well, Mars means Mars in the Navajo language. So that is how this has been named. And it's a very small rock. In fact, the section we're looking at here is only a few centimeters across. So in this case, about 6 centimeters or a little over 2 inches. And we're zooming in looking at this. Now, the whole idea of this was to study it and to zap it with a laser. And we're going to get to hear the sound of that was recorded back in 2021 on the Perseverance rover's 12th Martian day on the planet. And we can listen to that and try to learn a little bit about it. So we're going to hear is a small popping sound as there were a large series of zaps from the laser. And what that does is that affects the Martian atmosphere as the rock is vaporized, and we'll get kind of a popping sound that you'll hear. And why is that important? Well, it'll tell us a little bit more about the structure of the rock. You have to remember, we don't have full science laboratories on Mars, so we want to be able to study in as much detail as we can. So every little bit we can learn about the Martian rocks helps us learn more about the red planet in preparation for future exploration there. And in fact, for future human exploration there, as Mars is the most likely place after our moon where we could actually land astronauts, because it has enough similarities to Earth that we'd be able to support an astronaut there. First of all, it's relatively close. It's a relatively good size, about half the size of Earth. And while it does not have an atmosphere with any oxygen in it and a much thinner atmosphere than Earth, it does have water. Now, not liquid water, but it does have water below its surface and in its polar caps, which is also something very important for future missions to the red planet. Now let's go ahead and take a minute and listen to this and try to hear a little bit about what we hear when we zap a rock on Mars. So what you heard there was the popping sounds that you get from the various laser zaps that occurred as we zapped this rock to try to learn a little bit more about its structure and helping us to better understand the rocks on Mars. Now, Perseverance rover is continuing to study the planet, exploring various regions around the area where it landed. So while we may think of the rovers as very mobile, they actually aren't. They can only explore relatively small areas around where they land. And in fact, they have to move so slow just to make sure that there are no problems, that they don't get stuck someplace, because should the rover get stuck, its mission would then come to an end. But here we got to hear a little bit of what things would sound like on Mars with a laser zapping at a rock. So that was our picture of the day for March 22nd of 2025. It was titled SuperCam target on Mars. We'll be back again tomorrow for the next picture, previewed to be Once Upon a Beach. So we'll see what that is about tomorrow. And until then, have a great day, everyone, and I will see you in class.